Welcome friends, let us go for the next part of the basics, that is empirical formula as well as molecular formula. Here I am having some molecules like acetylene, CH triple bond CH, whereas carbon triple bond is there, carbon connected with the single bonded hydrogen twice. So therefore the structure and the formula of the corresponding acetylene is C2H2. Benzene, pretty familiar, C6H6, a cyclic structure, aromatic compound, whereas 6 carbon atoms are connected with alternative single and double bonds, and each carbon is connected to hydrogen, benzene, and the corresponding formula is C6H6. And cyclooctatetraene, that is 8 carbon atoms with alternative single and double bonds are connected, and each carbon is connected to hydrogen, that is C8 followed by H8. These of all are different molecules having molecular formulas like acetylene, C2H2, benzene, C6H6, as well as the cyclooctatetraenase, in as C8H8. Whereas the simplest ratio of all these formulas, this is consisting of C2H2, C6H6, C8H8. For one carbon, one hydrogen, one carbon, one hydrogen, one carbon, one hydrogen. The simplest ratio of the atoms of elements present in the molecule, if I write in the form of formula, and that is consisting of one carbon versus one hydrogen, that is C1H1 or CH. Whereas here this is one particular formula and this is one formula, and this formula is said to be the molecular formula and this formula is said to be the empirical formula. What is the empirical formula is the minimum ratio of atoms of the elements present in the molecule is represented in the form of a formula, and that formula is said to be the empirical formula. A formula related to the molecules where the minimum ratio of atoms of elements present in the molecule are written is said to be the empirical formula. Whereas molecular formula, the exact number of each individual atoms present in the molecule are written as it is in the form of formula is said to be the molecular formula. Whereas this formula, empirical formula, gives a logical idea related to the molecule, and many varieties of molecules can also be a part of empirical formula. But whereas molecular formula is unique, every molecule is having one particular formula that is said to be its corresponding molecular formula. Generally, molecule is having molecular formula, whereas empirical formula may be present for more than one varieties of molecules also. In this case, CH is the empirical formula for acetylene, is the empirical formula for benzene, is the empirical formula for cyclooctatetraene. The so-called discussed examples of empirical formula and the molecular formula related discussion, that is C and H into 2 times will becomes equal to C2H2, that is acetylene. CH into 6 times will becomes equal to C6H6, that is benzene. CH into 8 times will becomes equal to C8H8, which is known as cyclooctatetraene. That is empirical formula into some number n will becomes equal to molecular formula, whereas empirical formula weight into that number will also becomes equal to molecular formula weight. So therefore the n ratio of molecular formula to empirical formula is also becomes equal to ratio of weight of molecular formula to weight of empirical formula. The percentages of atoms in the empirical as well as the molecular formula of so-called discussed empirical and molecular formula related CH, C2H2, C6H6, C8H8. In CH, one carbon and one hydrogen, the corresponding weights of carbon and hydrogens are 12 and 1. Here 2 carbons, 2 into 12, 24, 2 hydrogens, once again 2. 6 carbons, 6 into 12, 72, and 6 hydrogens, once again 6. And here 8 carbons, 96 followed by 8 hydrogens, that is 8. The percentage of carbon weight by total weight, 12 by 12 plus 113 percentage into 100. Here 24 by 26 into 100, 72 by 78 into 100, 96 by 104 into 100. Once again it becomes equal to, yes, here if I divide that 1 by 2, that will becomes equal to 12 by 13 into 100 and 12 So therefore here 6, if I divide with 6, and here if I divide this one by 8, 12 by 30 into 100. So therefore, though the formula is empirical formula or the molecular formula, the percentages of atoms of elements remain same. Similarly, let us go for the hydrogen, percentage of hydrogen. 1 by 13 into 100, and here 2 by 26 into 100, which will becomes equal to 1 by 13 into 100, and here that will becomes equal to 6 by 78 into 100, that is nothing but what, 1 by 13 into 100 only. In the next case, this is 8 by 104 into 100, which will becomes equal to 1 by 13 into 100. So therefore, though that is empirical or molecular formula, the percentages of elements present in corresponding empirical as well as molecular formula are same as well as equal. An organic compound of 5 grams is having a chemical combination of carbon and hydrogen as 4 and 1 grams respectively, and it is having molecular weight of 30. Then you are asked to calculate the empirical formula as well as molecular formula of the compound. Once again, an organic compound is having total weight of 5 grams consisting of both carbon and the hydrogen's chemical combination as 4 grams and the 1 gram respectively. Then you are asked to calculate the empirical as well as the molecular formulas, whereas the gram molecular weight of substance is found to be 30. Yes, before going to the derivation of empirical and the molecular formulas, the weight percentages are required. Out of total weight of 5 grams, 4 grams are from the carbon and 1 gram is from the hydrogen. So the weight percentage of carbon is given by weight percentage of carbon is given by weight of carbon by total weight of components into 100 present in the molecule. So therefore total weight of carbon is 4 grams, whereas total weight of components as 4 plus 1, 5 into 100 will becomes equal to 80%. Similarly here, the weight percentage of hydrogen is equal to weight of hydrogen by total weight of components, that is 4 plus 1, 5, 1 by 5 into 100, that will becomes equal to 20%. From this, now we will derive the empirical as well as the molecular formulas. See, we are writing the details that we have in the form of table. Then we will go for the empirical formula. We have elements carbon as well as the hydrogen. Whereas the weight percentages, we already made the calculation. One is found to be 80% and other is found to be 20%. Altogether is equal to 100 implies what? Only these two elements are present. Relative ratio, that is weight percentage of one by the weight percentage of the other. Generally we will divide all things by the minimum one. So therefore 80 by 20. And in the second case 20 by 20. This is 1 and this is 4 relative weights ratios. But here, after knowing relative weights ratios, we want to know the relative minimum number of atoms. This is relative weights ratio. Whereas relative atoms ratio we are expecting. Then how to get the atoms ratio? Divide this particular weights ratio by corresponding gram atomic weight. So therefore, relative atoms ratio is 4 divided by, here its atomic weight is 12, whereas here 1 divided by its atomic weight is 1. This will becomes equal to 1/3 and this will becomes equal to 1. We will take that one in the minimum numerical ratio. In the minimum numerical ratio, that will be 1 and the bottom one will be 3. So therefore this is the ratio, and this ratio is once again minimum atoms ratio. Thus here it is consisting of 1 carbon versus 3 hydrogens. This ratio is the minimum ratio, and this particular minimum ratio of atoms is said to be empirical formula. Hence the empirical formula is C1H3. Whereas we had provided information that molecular weight is 30. Whereas empirical formula weight is how much here? Empirical formula weight is equal to 12 plus 3, that is equal to 15. Whereas molecular weight is how much there? 30. So therefore n value can be given by molecular weight by empirical formula weight is equal to 2. So therefore molecular formula is equal to twice of empirical formula, that is twice of CH3, which will becomes equal to C2H6. Hence the compound is C2H6. Once again I am making to your clear notice. First of all we have to take the weight percentages. Whereas here it is not necessary, you also divide that one by the corresponding atomic weights also. You will get atoms. Thereby you have to get the minimum atoms ratio. That minimum atoms ratio is said to be the empirical formula. From empirical formula and the molecular formula help calculate the n value. That n value provides the molecular formula. Thus we have to identify or we have to calculate the molecular formula associated with the compounds. Another question, an organic compound of a total weight of 15 grams is having a chemical combination of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, and in that the molecular weight of compound is found to be 180. Then you are asked to calculate the empirical formula and the molecular formula. In that 15 grams, the weight offered by carbon, hydrogen and oxygens are, carbon is having a weight of 6 grams, whereas hydrogen is having a weight of 1 gram, oxygen is having a weight of 8 grams. This is the weights ratio of carbon and the hydrogen and the oxygen as 6 gram, 1 gram as well as the 8 grams. Then you are asked to calculate empirical formula as well as the molecular formulas. Here the given information in the form of table. Elements we are having carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and corresponding weights are 6 grams to 1 grams to 8 grams, total is of 15 grams. And relative atoms, weight by atomic weight, that is 6 by 12, this is 1 by 1 and this is 8 by 16, which will becomes equal to 0.5 and this is also 0.5. Whereas relative minimum number of atoms, because less than 1 atom is not expected, minimum 1 atom is present, so therefore relative minimum number of atoms, relative minimum number of atoms, relative minimum number of atoms, at least every atom of 1 in quantity should be present. So therefore this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 1. Whereas the corresponding empirical formula definition reveals that the relative minimum number of atoms present in the molecule. And here this is carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, carbon 1, hydrogen 2 and oxygen 1. This particular formula is minimum relative number of atoms present in the molecule. That particular formula is said to be the empirical formula. Whereas empirical formula weight can be given by 6 into 12 into 1, 1 carbon plus 2 into 1, 2 plus 1 into 16, that will becomes equal to 24 plus 16, 14 plus 16, that is 30. Whereas molecular weight is given, molecular weight is found to be 180. So therefore molecular formula weight as being it is 180, n value will becomes equal to 180 by 30 is equal to 6. Hence molecular formula can be given by n times of empirical formula, that is 6 times of C1H2O1, that will becomes equal to C6H12O6 is the molecular formula. Thus we calculated the empirical formula, we calculated the molecular formula. Here not necessary to take the weight percentages. Weight percentages once again reveals for 100 grams of weight, how many grams of that one is there. For any quantity of weight, that weight ratio remains similarly the same in quantities. So therefore if you know the direct weights, thereby you divide that one by the gram atomic weight, you will be getting the minimum atoms ratio. you will adjust that one with the minimum atoms ratio. The corresponding formula is empirical formula. If you know the molecular weight, n value can be known from the n and the empirical formula. We will calculate the molecular formula of the substances. The next technical term is vapor density, but vapor density we will use, that is a misnomer. In practically, vapor density is ratio of density of the gas by density of the hydrogen under same conditions of temperature and the pressure. That is ratios of densities, relative density of a gaseous component with respect to whom hydrogen is said to be the vapor density. Whereas density is given by mass upon volume, we will convert that one for our known terms of gram molecular weights. Suppose that mass, otherwise the weight and the volumes, if I take 1 mole of substance, that mass is gram molecular weight divided by that volume is molar volume. The ratio of gram molecular weight to the molar volume under STP conditions will becomes equal to 1 of the density, one case of density. Now we will go for vapor density by definition wise, how it will be stands and what relation it will is. Vapor density Vd, that will becomes equal to density of some gas divided by density of hydrogen. I don't know that gas I am considering it as gas. Here also the same conditions of temperature and pressure. One of the temperature and pressure conditions which is valid for the gas, which is valid for the hydrogen, is standard temperature and the pressure. If I apply the same logics of density related molecular weight and the molar volumes for the other gas, then vapor density will becomes equal to density of gas by density of hydrogen. Density of gas is given by gram molecular weight of gas by molar volume. Molar volume under STP conditions is 22.4, hence it is gram molecular weight of gas divided by 22.4 liters. Whereas density of hydrogen is given by gram molecular weight of hydrogen 2 divided by gram molecular volume under STP conditions is 22.4 liters. Hence this 22.4, this 22.4 is cancelled. Thus it will becomes equal to gram molecular weight of gas divided by 2. That implies gram molecular weight will becomes equal to 2 into vapor density. Twice of vapor density. Vapor density is nothing but what? Relative density. But we will use the same word as vapor density. 2 into vapor density will becomes equal to gram molecular weight of the gaseous substance. Percentage yield of reaction. Suppose let us consider a chemical reaction A plus B gives C. Theoretically, the expected values of the amount of the compound formed here is X grams. But after performing the chemical transformation, we got Y grams, where X is greater compared to Y, because if it happens 100% properly, 100% all things are perfect, there is no byproduct, all conditions are matching with the reaction, then as per theory is concerned, we are expecting X grams of product. But practically performing the reaction, there may be, after writing an examination of 100 marks, we will be getting less than 100 marks only. So therefore here also we are getting a weight which is lesser than the X, that is Y is lesser than X, otherwise X is greater than Y. Now the percentage yield of the chemical transformation has to calculate. The meaning of percentage is, if I am expecting X is obtained, suppose, then that is said to be 100%. If X is 100%, then Y is how much of that 100% is said to be the percentage of yield. So the percentage of yield is like this. Theoretical weight X, that is considered to be 100%, whereas practical weight Y is how much of that one is said to be the yield. This is said to be the yield. So therefore question mark, which is known as yield will becomes equal to how much here? Y by X into 100, that is practical weight by theoretical weight into 100. Practical weight by theoretical weight into 100 is said to be the percentage of yield of reaction. percentage of yield of reaction. That is the ratio of practical weight to theoretical weight of chemical reaction into 100 is said to be its corresponding yield of reaction. Yes, a problem on the percentage of yield, otherwise the percentage of yield. That is, carbon and oxygen combines and forms the carbon dioxide, whereas 12 grams of carbon and reaction with 32 grams of oxygen, it is going to be producing 44 grams. That is theoretical. But under the same conditions of 12 grams as well as 32 grams of oxygen, here on conducting the experiment, instead of getting the 44 grams of carbon dioxide, here we got 39.6 grams of carbon dioxide. Then you are asked to calculate the yield of the transformation, yield of the reaction, percentage of yield of reaction. That is, percentage of yield can be given by percentage of yield is equal to theoretical weight of product obtained by practical weight of product obtained by theoretical weight of product into 100. So therefore that is practical weight of product obtained divided by theoretical weight of product into 100. That percentage of yield can be given by practical weight of product obtained divided by theoretical weight of product into 100. So therefore this will becomes equal to, what is the practical weight? 39.6, whereas theoretical weight is 44 we are expecting, and that into 100 will becomes equal to, this is 4.4 pence and 4.4 nines. So this will becomes equal to 90%. So therefore the yield of the reaction is 90%. That's what, out of every 10 grams of expected, 9 grams are obtained. Thus in the total amount of expected 4.44 grams, here we are getting 39.6 grams as product. Yes, there is a chemical reaction, that is zinc followed by sulfuric acid produces zinc sulfate followed by hydrogen. Whereas in this reaction, you are asked to calculate the volume of hydrogen gas produced under STP conditions with a percentage yield of 90% when 1 mole of zinc, that is 63.5 grams of zinc is allowed to react with excess amount of sulfuric acid. Question is clear? 1 mole of zinc is allowed to react with excess amount of sulfuric acid, and here the percentage of yield of reaction is 90%. Then you are asked to calculate the volume of hydrogen gas produced under STP conditions with this 90% of yield. Percentage of purity. Sometimes what happens is, starting materials are not pure enough to produce the expected maximum amount of the compound. Let us consider a chemical reaction to understand the things. A simplest reaction, A gives B. Whereas for a certain amount of A, if it is 100% pure, then it should produce some Y grams. But here instead of producing Y grams, it is producing X grams, where X is lesser than Y. Y is greater. Because if it is 100%, it should produce Y. It is not 100% pure, that's what it is producing. Not producing the Y grams, it is producing some X grams. Then how much percentage of purity is present? Here purity is 100%. Now how much percentage of purity? The question mark stands for the percentage of purity of the starting material. That will be given by X by Y into 100. That is the practical weight of product obtained divided by theoretical weight of product obtainable into 100 is said to be the percentage of purity of the compound. So therefore percentage of purity will be given by, this is X is practical weight of product divided by theoretical weight of product into 100 is said to be the percentage of purity present in the substance. Let us go for one example to make this one very clear. Decomposition of calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate can decompose as calcium oxide as well as the carbon dioxide. 1 mole is converted to 1 mole of calcium oxide and 1 mole of carbon dioxide. That is, theoretically, if you take 100 grams, it should produce 56 grams of calcium oxide and 44 grams of carbon dioxide. Law of conservation of mass is valid and all the things. But I took 50 grams. For 50 grams, theoretically, we are expecting 28 grams of calcium oxide. But unfortunately, it is not producing 28 grams, it is producing 25.2 grams. This is practical. On heating 50 grams of calcium carbonate, it is producing 25.2 grams of calcium oxide. Then you are asked to calculate how much percentage of purity is present in calcium carbonate, because calcium carbonate is having some impurity. Due to that reason, expected amount of calcium oxide formation is not occurring. That's what you are asked to calculate, the how much percentage of purity is present in calcium carbonate. That is, though you are considering it as 50, it is not 50. Then how much of exact weight of calcium carbonate is present? How much percentage of calcium carbonate is present is asked. So therefore, the calculations related to the percentage of purity, whereas purity versus weight of the product compound, if it is 100%, we are expecting 28, whereas it is some other percentage, that's what we are getting 25.2. So if it is 25.2, then what is that percentage? So on cross multiplication, these two multiplication terms will becomes equal to these two. So therefore, that question mark, that is percentage of purity, will becomes equal to practical weight by theoretical weight into 100. Practical weight is 25.2. Theoretically expected weight is 28 into 100 will becomes equal to how much? 90%. So therefore, calcium carbonate is not 100% pure. It is 90% pure. The meaning is, in every 100 grams of calcium carbonate, 10 grams are waste, 90 grams are pure. In the same way, if it is 50 grams, in 50 grams, 45 grams are pure, 5 grams are waste materials, otherwise impure materials are present. A homework question for everybody of you on behalf of percentage of purity. See, sulfur plus oxygen combines and forms sulfur dioxide. Whereas here I am having impure sulfur because it is not pure. Impure sulfur followed by oxygen, pure oxygen, leads to the formation of sulfur dioxide. 16.8 grams of impure sulfur is allowed to combine with a 16 grams of pure oxygen. That leads to the formation of 32 grams of sulfur dioxide. Then you are asked to calculate the amount of impurity present in the 16.8 grams of sulfur, as well as the percentage of impurity present in the sulfur, and also at the same time calculate the percentage of purity of sulfur, percentage of impurity of the sulfur. 3 questions are there. Question number 1, calculate the amount of impurity present in the sulfur. Question number 2, calculate the percentage of impurity in the sulfur, that is amount, here percentage, and the next percentage of purity. One thing is, percentage of purity plus impurity will becomes equal to total, that is 100%.